Hi everyone, welcome back. So today I'm just going to be showing you my method for painting power swords. So this is a pretty quick and easy method, and it produces a pretty good looking power sword. So first up, I'm just going to be using lead belcher. And what I'm going to do with this is create equal sections on either side of the blade. So you can kind of decide which end you want each section to be. So I'm doing for the right side of the blade up the top, then for the left at the bottom. And you just want to create even sections about this big. And on the opposite side of the blade, when you're doing that, you want to do the opposite of what you do here. Alright, so now your blade should look something like this, and this doesn't have to be perfect, because for the next step, I'm going to be kind of blending it out. So what you want to do is you want to get some more lead belcher, and sort of an old, drier brush, just a bigger, thicker brush, and you want to wipe most of that lead belcher off, and then slowly work your way down the black side of each end, and just fade into that original lead belcher. So take your time with this, because if you go fast, you could leave like a streaky, kind of uneven pattern. But if you take your time and spend time around the original shape, you can see it kind of blends out. So when you're wiping the brush off, you want to make sure you really have hardly any on it. So even if you think you have got it off, you just want to keep going, just wiping that off, because this really needs to be pretty thin. So even if you wipe off too much, you can add some more to the brush and just kind of work out how much you need. Then do the same for the opposite side. So we're just working it out. So it'll be thicker towards that shape, and then you're just brushing it out. Alright, so now you can see with a little bit more back and forth, we've got a nice blend going out, and it should look something like this. Alright, so for the next step, I'm just going to be using a brighter metal towards the end of each side. So I'm using iron hand steel, and what you want to do is just wipe it on the ends and leaving that original lead belcher towards the end. You kind of just want it halfway up your original lead belcher. Now if you're using a brighter steel for this, like Runefang steel or anything like that, you just want to use the method before, so you want to blend it out a bit more so it looks more natural. Alright, for the next step, I'm just adding on a wash of Nuln Oil. And I've actually found if you do 2 layers of Nuln Oil, so you wait for the first to dry, then do another one, the lightning we'll do in the later steps should show up a lot better. So it's up to you. Alright, so for this next step, I've made a 50-50 mix of white and iron hand steel. You can use lead belcher, it doesn't really matter. You just want it to be sort of this color here. And I'm going to wipe it on the edges of the blade. So I'm just using a thin brush and just catching the edges. So I'm going to be doing these outside edges of the blade, and if there's any bits sticking out, like on the bottom here, just catching them too. And then you want to do this middle part of the blade. This really ties it all together. So what you want to do is kind of use this motion here and just kind of find that edge. So you don't want to put the brush straight down onto the edge, because it can create some thick lines. And that should work pretty well. Alright, so next we're going to be adding this lightning effect. So I'm using Sotek green, but you can just use any turquoise kind of bluey color. And first I'm just going to highlight that little node. And then I'm going to make 3 or so main lines. So you want these to be kind of opposites of each other, like a triangle from the node really. I do the last line after this one, but so what you want to do is kind of make lines protruding from these. So you can look up reference pictures of lightning, but you sort of want to do something like this. So do lines protruding from those main lines, and then maybe a few lines protruding from those. So you get this kind of lightning look. And you want these lines to be pretty thick, because we're going to be doing a white highlight over them to make the kind of lightning effect. So don't be afraid if they're not as thin as you think they should be. Now I just found here some of that reflectiveness kind of takes away from the lightning. So if you want, you can do another Nuln Oil coat here, but don't do it if you did 2 for the sword originally, like I suggested. And you don't even have to do this at all. I'm just trying to get that lightning to pop for the video mainly. Alright, so now I'm just adding the actual kind of lightning electricity look. And I'm just going to be using white. And I'm using a really thin brush here, as you can see, with a fine point. But if you don't have something like this, you can still do this. And you do want to water this down a little bit. I'm watering it down here because I found I didn't water it down enough. So you want to put this on really thin, and don't go straight onto the blade. Kind of used that method before when I was highlighting that middle edge. You just want to kind of find it. So hover above until you start to see some color showing through. And don't worry if this comes out wrong or you put down a little too much and that white goes over the blue, it's too thick. You can come back with that Sotek green and just kind of bring that light into the middle. So you can fix your mistakes with the Sotek green by just adding a little bit more around those edges of the white. So you can see this is really starting to come together. If you leave that Sotek green on the outside, makes it look like this lightning effect is glowing. Yeah, so you just want to go up each of those blue branches. Alright, so here's the effect you should have after that. And for this last final step, I'm just going to use some lead belcher on this little wiry thing here, just to highlight it. Alright, so there's the power sword done. You can see this looks really good. That lightning effect, and you've almost got that TMM for the steel. So yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to see other videos like this, and bye.